business day, we break down unusual option activity, and we tell you what we're doing about it. So let's get to that right now. Presentation is that this is 3 at 3. It is the 16th of November, 2020. I'm sure you're all loving that. And now we're about to do the disclaimer, which is that this is for educational and informational purposes only, full stop. Before you make any investment, understand that options are a wasting asset and all investments involve risk. Intellectual property rights, we have registered marks, trademarks, we have patents and copyrights on most of what you're about to see. So please, before you reproduce it, ask us and then cite marketrebellion.com. All right, let's get right into it, shall we? The Taiwan Semiconductor Trade, TSM, I did on Friday. And the stock, as you saw on the halftime report, moved up to 93.07 when we were speaking about it. We talked about the unusual activity in those December 100 calls. And here is where those calls went today. And by the way, we were able to take big profits on this trade. Didn't get all the way up to $5, but as you can see, they opened at $2. They closed on Friday at $1.30. All that information's on the screen for you to check out there. They traded up to $5. So depending on where you got in, if you followed us in, and you paid $1, and they closed at $1.30, and you're cheering, you're saying, yeah, that's great. And then all of a sudden they open at $2, you're like, wow. And then it just kept going. So very nice trade. Keep in mind that discipline dictates action. Because the last thing you want to do, really, folks, is, even though we could still go higher, the last thing you want to do, and they did buy 110s in here today, the last thing you want to do is get in here and have a winning trade and have it over $4 and not sell any there and have it drift all the way back down $1.20 lower than that before you finally pull the trigger and take some profits. Don't be a pig. So that's just a little advice. As far as advice about crypto, we have Crypto Rebellion, which has been approved in the App Store. We've got charts. We've got a chat room. We've got all kinds of goodies. If you go to marketrebellion.com/crypto, that is marketrebellion.com/crypto, you can see all about it. All right, my brother Pete was on the halftime report today, and Pete was talking about unusual activity, among other things. There he is with Scott Wapner. And here he is describing the activity in the November 190 calls in PayPal. PYPL, November 190s. Now, these are options, folks, that expire this coming Friday. So Pete's talking about a now in-the-money call, because when he talked about it at first, the stock was below 190, went into the money by a little over $1 right away. And as you can see, the buying activity has been rather extreme today. You need to understand about time decay and volatility compression, because both of those could hurt you. So please make sure that you are making yourself aware of those before you commit cash to trades like this. It's a great trade. I am in the trade as well. There is a chart of PayPal basically over the last month. And as you can see, been up as high as 216. And on the beginning of November, right into the election, the shares were about 176. Today, as you know, they crossed 190, moved up to 191. And that is our first of our 3 at 3. Micron is the next one. Micron, November 64 calls. So these are calls that also expire in 1 week, and they are calls at the 64 strike. Now, they also bought 65 strike calls. There's a lot of upside call buying in Micron today. Pete described that on the halftime report. We are citing it for you here. And there is a look at the run. as Micron has stair-stepped from the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, so let's say last week, where it was fluttering between, let's say, 54 and 56. All of a sudden, on Friday, we move and make that jump to 58. And then today, and it basically trades sideways, and then today jumps all the way, 11% move. Great stuff out of Micron. Keep an eye on this one. I am in these calls as well. Third of our 3 at 3 today is Viacom CBS. And Viacom CBS, they were buying with the stock at 32.05, which you see there. They were buying the 37.50 calls. 37.50 is bought for, let's call it 60 cents, 65 cents, in that range. Each option's for 100 shares, so each purchase was $65 approximately. And they bought 10,500 of these, which means it's over 1 million share equivalent. That's a big trade. So we want to follow that. Although, as you probably know what I'm going to say, I tend to buy the lower strike and sell an upper strike because I don't really like having to have the stock move $5 before my options are in the money. Now, you don't have to hold the options until they go in the money. I mean, the reason this particular trader's buying these, 10,000 of these, might be because they just think the stock could make a quick move to 33, 34. If it does, these options will double. If it makes a slow climb to 34 and then 35 and so forth, you might not get as much boost out of this trade. So I'm just making you aware that there's always a way to trade it. We try to do it and we teach it that you can buy these options and protect yourself against demutation of volatility or against the time decay, because both those can work against you. Here is the chart on VIAC, which is again Viacom CBS. Shares up at 32.38, and you get the idea. You could buy a strike other than just the strike that we're citing, the 37.50s right there. I am saying, I like buying the 32.50s, selling the 35s as a great way to play it, and that's one of the ways that I might choose to trade this particular stock. All right, now we're getting into something that's become very popular with you guys, where we answer your questions on Twitter. All you need to do is tag Pete or me or Market Rebels or 3 at 3, and we will be happy to answer those questions for you. So, AZN or JNJ is the question here. Big fella 922 asks, what's up, guys? AstraZeneca or Johnson & Johnson? Which is going to be better short-term and long-term? I don't have a problem with either one. Both are great stocks. If you made me pick, I suppose I'd choose Johnson & Johnson. But I think they'll both do well. They both have exposure to exactly the right segments and the right sectors of healthcare. So I think they'll both do very well. So, big fella, for me, it would be Johnny John. But I have nothing against AstraZeneca. I love it as well. Second question today is, oh my God, I got up this morning, walked into the kitchen, and someone had forgotten to make the coffee last night. Jeff, I hate it when that happens. That's Jeff Rash, R-A-I-C-H. I hate it when that happens, Jeff, when people forget to make the coffee, although it's always me that makes my coffee, unless I'm buying it at a store on the way, flying somewhere. But I put out, folks, my first tweet of the day probably goes out 4:30, 5 in the morning, something like that. And it's almost always a tweet about coffee, because that is the liquid that helps me hang on, as Jimmy Buffett would say. So I love coffee. And Jeff, giving you some love, thank you for asking. And I feel your pain not having that coffee early, because I need it. SPG. All right. 3 at 3 would love your thoughts on SPG as a reopen play rather. And I do like SPG. As you guys know, I have bought Park Hotels. I have bought Host HST, and I would be more than happy to buy SPG. Now, Simon Property Group is not a hotelier, but it had a nice move today. We described it earlier today in my, what was that? In the 60-second video, we talked about this one because they did a deal with Taubman Centers or something like that, I think. Anyway, it popped all the way to about 82. I think this is, and I know people in the business of operating malls and so forth, which is what Simon Property Group does. And I think the move was probably outsized when it screamed up to 82, but that will be something that the markets will be looking to retest. So keep an eye on that. By the way, think about maybe joining me and AJ. That's AJ Monty, because I think he and I are going to be doing a discussion of a number of names, and I'll try to work this one in on Wednesday. He does 30 stocks in 30 minutes. He's pretty damn good at it, and we're going to do a free webinar, I think, this Wednesday. So, Devin, check that out. And Porcupine wants to know about Fastly, because Sunny 505 ABQ is Fastly question here, FAST, sorry. FSLY is the symbol. I'm just checking to see how we're doing in here for that one. It is down $1.88 today, although rallying a lot off of the opening when it was down much harder than this, almost double in percentage terms. How much it's down now? It's down about 5-6%. It's been fighting its way back, but now, you know, as we go into the final hour of trade, I don't know how much gas it's got left. If I look, for instance, at the 1 month graph, I know that we've got upside resistance at 83. If I look at a longer graph out here, more like instead of a month, a little bit further, let's see, where did it? So it was trading, folks, 128.83. This was one of our big winners earlier this year. On that run, we liquidated, not at 128, but we've liquidated on the way up to that, I think at about 120, and we were already out of it. But I think this is a good level to pick some up, quite frankly. I don't have a trigger for you, Sonny, as far as getting in right here today. I don't have a trigger for that because I haven't seen the unusual activity in here today, but I do like the way it fought its way back, and I think that we're going to see some higher numbers, you know, into the mid-80s in the not-too-distant future. If you guys would care to join, in about 45 minutes, we've got the next big Bitcoin revolution, and that comes from Charlie Shrem. That's Charlie. He's a friend of mine. He hosts Untold Stories. That's his podcast. He is an OG, an original gangsta in the crypto space. He's the guy that got the Winklevi $1 billion worth, what is now over, it's pushing towards $2 billion worth, I think now, of Bitcoin. And he bought it for him, acting as their agent when he was in BitInstant, I think, which is one of the companies that he was either co-founder or founder of. He's a brilliant guy on crypto. If you want to learn more about crypto, join us for free tonight, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Charlie Shrem, you just have to sign up if you want to join us live. And if you'd like to know more about how we did unusual option activity, go to marketrebellion.com/UOA. That is marketrebellion.com/UOA for unusual option activity. Thank you. I hope you have a great day, everybody, and we appreciate you joining us as usual. Don't forget to sign up for that free webinar tonight with Charlie Shrem, and I'll see you tomorrow right back here. Kanye. Remember, what would Kanye do?